Well, hey friends and neighbors, this is Chuck out at Sheridan Park Farms. Welcome back to the farm. We are in the shop today because over the past couple of days, we've had about 3 inches of rain here in western North Carolina, and everything, I mean everything, is sopping wet, nasty, muddy. It's a terrible mess. So we can't get outside and do anything. I'm filming this right after Christmas, so I hope, it's been a while since we've done a video. I'll explain about that here in a little bit. I've been involved in some stuff that I should not have been involved in, and I'm quite embarrassed by it. But anyway, I sincerely mean that. I really am. But anyway, we're in the shop today. It's too nasty to get outside and do anything. I have some lumber, or had some lumber. I brought it up here to the shop now. Had some lumber out in the sawmill shed that I decided I wanted to do something with. Decided to come up with a project. So I've got an idea, something I want to do. So hang out with us for a little bit. Let me show you the lumber that I've got. We'll show you what we're doing to it and what we're going to do with it. And I'll tell you about this terrible activity that I've been engaged in for the past couple of days. And I really am embarrassed about it. So hang out with us for a little bit and let's get some work done. All right, so this is the stock that we're working with. And this is some tulip poplar or yellow poplar. It's called a couple different things around here. It's very, very prolific in the western part of North Carolina. Grows fast, grows tall, and grows straight. It is, I think it's officially classified as a hardwood, but it is one of the softer of the hardwoods that we have in this area. We use poplar around here for a lot of different things. Primarily, I'll cut it into dimensional lumber, 2x4s, 2x6s, and use it for framing lumber. But this is some that I had initially cut. I think I cut this back in the summer to use on a woodshed project, which is yet to come to fruition. But stacked and stickered this out in the sawmill shed, so it's been laying out there for a while. Now it does still have a high moisture content. It's at about 15%, so it's still pretty wet. But as you can see here, we've got some staining. There was a little bit of sticker stain on some of it, but we've got some staining, a little bit of mold right there, discoloration, and it just, out of the stack, it just does not look good. So let me show you what I bought a while back. I've been using it today, but let me show you what I bought a while back on Facebook Marketplace, and then I'll show you what we're doing to these to try to correct it and how we're going to use this on our project. All right, here it is. This is my new to me Makita 12-inch planer. I picked this up on Facebook Marketplace a couple months ago, and this is really the first project that I've used it on. It's been sitting over here fallow and not being used because I really didn't have anything to use it on. Picked this up on Facebook Marketplace, I think for about 150 bucks. And this thing is all metal. I looked at the newer ones, they are about 90% plastic. Picked this up for 150 bucks. I think the new ones are about $400, $500, $600. I don't even know, but I think I got a good buy in it. It works great. So the only problem that I'm having with it is these boards are 1.5 inches, 1 5/8, somewhere in that neighborhood, and I'm trying to plane these things down to 1 inch thick, get everything consistent. And I'm planing both sides because I want that back side smooth. And these things have, out there in the barn, I had them stacked and stickered, had weight on top of them, but they still have cupped just a little bit. So I'm planing both sides so that I can get it as flat as I possibly can. First handful of passes through this, it works great. I mean, the rollers pull this thing through and it spits shavings out. I mean, I have got a mountain of shavings back here. So the first few passes through works fine. But as I get down, excuse me, sawdust. As I get down to that last 1/16, 32nd of an inch, I don't know if it's because the board is smooth, because we've planed it down, if the knife is now having to cut all the way across the board, but those rollers seem to be spinning on the board and not pulling it through the machine. So I have to physically push the board through the machine those last handful of passes to get it down to that final 1 inch. But it works great other than that. So I don't know if that's the problem. That's the only thing that I can think of, is that it's just those rollers are spinning on it and it's not pulling the board through. But this has been really nice. I've got my earmuffs up here. I turn on some music or a podcast or something on the phone to listen to while I'm doing this, and it is very relaxing, and it's been a welcome change to some of the stuff I've been doing over this Christmas break. And I'll talk a little bit about that here in a few minutes. Let's run a few through. I'll show you how this thing's working, what it looks like. It is very loud, so it's nice to get some hearing protection on. Yeah, let's run a few through here, and I'll show you what these things look like, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do with them. All right, so here's what they turn out to look like. And this, like I said, this is yellow poplar, and it is absolutely beautiful. Now, down under some of the ones that I done the other day, whenever I first started this little deal, see, that still didn't plane that down good because I was pushing that through. Some of the ones that are down under this have got some really, really pretty color. But this poplar is, I mean, it's almost white. I mean, it's got some yellow streaks in it, and it's just beautiful. It's just absolutely gorgeous. That one didn't do very good. But, so we'll end up cutting these, well, we'll do this here in a few minutes. We're going to end up cutting these down, I think, to 8 inches. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing, is I'm going to end up cutting these down to 8s. They're about 10.5 or 11 wide now. I could do 10s. That would mean I wouldn't need to plane anymore, I don't think. I don't know. But anyway, point being, run these things through the planer, and man, they just turn out really, really nice. It's kind of got me a little bit of the itch to wanting a bigger planer, but I don't know that, you know, this is the first project that I've done. I don't know that I'll do a lot of this, but I can see milling lumber, air drying it, kiln drying it would be the optimum. Talk about that maybe at a future time. But drying it and then running it through the planer and getting these more finished boards, every time you take a piece of this material and get it closer to a finished end product, it adds value. But there's an inherent cost and investment of time, labor, and material in getting to that, in getting to each stage. So the product goes up, but so does your investment. So anyway, I think I need to decide how wide I'm going to do this. But let's go over, let me show you what we're going to do with this. I don't think I've told y'all yet. Let me show you what I'm going to do with this stuff. All right, so these are my shop walls over here in the workshop part of the building. These are my shop walls. And I think this is oak. This is very rough cut, 2x, I'm pretty sure this is 2 inches thick. Yeah, 2x whatever boards. Some of them look like they're 6s, some of them 3s, 1.5, who knows, but they're different sizes. And while I like this look, I want something different. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to take those boards, well, so this is what the rest of it looks like. And y'all have seen this. I mean, you've seen this on other videos. I mean, that's what the walls look like. But this particular area, right back here behind the stove, I want to take that poplar that we have milled and then planed down, and I want to replace this wall basically from this post right here to, I don't know if it's going to show on camera, this post right here. That is, memory serves, 7 feet. So I've got to get 7 feet or 84 inches across. But I just want to replace it. I want to see what it looks like. We may end up doing everything. This building has no insulation, so having a tighter wall I think would help. We could put some insulation behind this, but I'm not going to do that right now. If we put insulation in here, I will do that if we ever reskin the building. If we ever put new siding on the building, that's whenever I'll put insulation in it. But for right now, I think I'm just going to do this wall. So this is the project. That's what we're going to do, is we're going to take those boards that we've milled down, and we're going to replace this part of the wall with it. We'll see how it looks. So I've had folks ask about this in the past. I've even had folks reach out and want to know if I wanted to sell it. But this is going to tear everything in the building up. This is an old circle saw blade that my dad and my grandpa, and I think this is a 48, I think it's a 48 incher. This is an old circle saw blade that my dad and my grandpa Lewis ran years and years and years ago on a sawmill that they had. And one of my earliest memories as a child, Dad and we called him Paul Lewis. He was a little man. He was about 5'3", weighed 90 pounds soaking wet. Dad tells the story. He stepped between two of my uncles on his wife's brothers. So he stepped between two of them and broke them up in a fight, and both those guys were better than 6 feet and 220, 230 plus pounds, and he broke it up. But anyway, Dad and Paul Lewis ran what they called a block mill. And at that block mill, they called squares. And those squares were, I'm going off of memory here as a child, I think they were 3x3s, 3 inch by 3 inch. And I think they cut them probably 12 or 16 inches long. And they would cut a 1.5 ton or a 2 ton truckload of those things and take them to, and I remember the building, and it's now a coffee shop in in Damascus, Virginia. They would take a load of those squares over there and sell them at auction, and furniture companies bought those and would take those and put them on lathes and turn them into chair arms, chair legs, spindles, and that kind of thing. But that's where this blade comes from. This was a blade that Dad and Paul Lewis ran when they were running a block mill and selling squares to furniture companies. Now, I want to know, do y'all have these where you are? Can you see them? Stink bugs. These things are awful. And just here in the past couple of days, they have really, they're everywhere. It's like they've been in hibernation and finally decided to come out. Hate them things. You ever step on one or mash them or anything like, or get into like an enclosed area where they've been? Man, they stink. They're awful. I think they came over on some Chinese shipping vessel or something, but send them back to China. They're awful. So I said a few minutes ago that this had been relaxing compared to what I had been doing and what I've been doing. So we're a couple days after Christmas, and y'all know we've not had a video now, I guess, in 9 or 10 days. And I've taken a little break from YouTube, taken a little break from filming stuff. We've had a lot of family engagements and that sort of thing going on. But over the past couple of days, I have found myself wasting a bunch of time doing what apparently is called doom scrolling. And it's awful. And I don't know if it's by design. The way that I think it is. By design, the way things are structured to get you to do that. And what doom scrolling is you open up the Facebook app, or you open up TikTok, or YouTube on the shorts, I think is a good example. Instagram, any of those social media apps. And you sit there and you just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. And before you know it, you have scrolled your day away. And I've done that a couple of days. And at the end of the day, after I've done it, and you look around and you've accomplished nothing, it is a horrible, horrible feeling. It's kind of a mix between shame and guilt and hangover, and it sucks the life out of you. And so today, y'all saw a minute ago, it's dark outside. I've been doing it. I've not been filming much today. I filmed running that planer, but I've spent hours running that planer. And there's only so much of that I'm going to show in a video. I'm not going to show 8 or 10 hours of running a daggone planer. That's awful. Or however many hours it's been. But to come up here today and work at something and do something and get be physical and active and accomplish something, man, I feel so much better. So I think the point that I'm trying to make here is, if you're finding yourself doing that, and I found myself doing that the past couple of days, I've done it in retrospect, I've done it in the past. If you find yourself doing that, you've got to put that phone down and get up and get outside and do something. I felt so much better today by actually being physical and active. And again, I think those apps are designed to suck you in, draw you in. And you start out by, and I've done this, you start out by thinking, well, I'm gonna look something up real quick. And you look that one thing up, and then you end up going down this rabbit hole. And before you know it, you've spent 3 or 4 hours doom scrolling, scrolling Facebook, going back to the web, going back to a web page, going back over to YouTube, looking something up, going to Amazon. I can spend eBay. I can spend hours doom scrolling eBay. And I've spent some money on eBay the past couple days. But if you find yourself doing that, put that phone down, walk away from it. And I make, I guess it's counterproductive. What I'm talking about is, YouTube and Facebook and putting out videos is an income stream for us now. I mean, we don't make a lot of money, but what we make is not insignificant. And here I am encouraging people not to do that. So I guess it's counterproductive, but I think everything in moderation. Set yourself a time limit. Say, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to spend 30 minutes and I'm going to, look up farming videos, or I'm going to spend 30 minutes and I'm going to look up, I'm just going to watch a couple of, YouTube videos on sawmilling or cattle or whatever the case may be. But I've even scrolled through that daggone TikTok app. That's one of the worst. It's awful. And it's Chinese. I mean, they sent TikTok over here. I think these stink bugs brought TikTok with them. But TikTok is the worst. I've even scrolled that thing to that little fella pops up and goes, "Whoa, buddy, take yourself a break. Go get you something to drink," or whatever it is he says. Yeah, get outside, get active, find a purpose, pick you a project, get to work on something, do something that you can physically see some results from. And I talked about this on another video. I find what we do here very satisfying compared to a lot of what my job is. At the end of the day at work, when I close that computer, I can't look around, see, touch, taste, feel, or have a visceral sense of anything that I've accomplished. Today, I can look at a whole stack of poplar boards and a whole pile of sawdust and shavings that I've spent the day on accomplishing something. And now I'm going to put it on this wall back here. And so, having a purpose, having a project, having an end goal in mind, I think that's really what's wrong. I think that's a big problem with society now, is we have sold ourselves out to these devices, and we have lost a lot of our visceral connection to each other, our visceral connection to our community, to our food, to the land, to everything, and we have sold that out to a device. And I don't make New Year's resolutions, but I'm going to make a concerted effort going into next year to not be as connected to my device and dependent upon and all that doom scrolling stuff as what I have been here lately. So just something to think about. But I've been doom scrolling. It's awful. Don't do it. Cord button. Okay. So we're a little over 6 feet, about 6 feet 6 inches. Man, my tape measure is all jacked up. Good Lord of mercy. There we go. Had the lock on. That don't help. Okay. So we are at, y'all hold that right there for me for just a minute. We are at right at 80 inches. It's actually 79 3/8. 79 3/8 of material. But that's going to be in my way. So we're not going to be able to go to there. I want to go to there. Let me remeasure that again. Measure twice, cut once. We only need 78 inches of material. 78 inches of material. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put these on the table saw and trim them down so that we end up with, number one, they're square, and we also got some smooth edges over here so we can butt them together. Now, I'm not going to go to the trouble of creating a tongue and groove or a lap joint or anything like that. It's a shop wall. It's like it's a well house. It's a shop wall. So I'm just going to butt them up right next to each other, good and tight. And then there's only a couple places that we can nail, because the way the framing is done, we can nail there, we can nail here, and then down at the bottom. So I think that's what we're going to do with that. So 78 inches of material, and we're going to do them in 10-inch wide boards. You like the sawdust bed? Huh? You like the sawdust bed? You look like you do. You like the sawdust pile, don't you, buddy? Okay, I think that's about all the time that we've got for this little project today. We'll work on this some more tomorrow. Next order of business is going to be getting the boards cut down to size. I measured, and everything, I mean, they're all about the same. Everything is about 10 1/4. Yeah, 10 1/4. So what we'll do is we'll come and we will just skin each side to square these up. They're a lot longer than we need. We're not going to need, should have measured that. I'm only going to need maybe 8 feet long, and these guys are, wow, these guys are 10 1/2. So, and that's fine, because on a lot of these ends we've got some checking, so we'll cut that off so that, and we'll get some things, we'll get these boards nice and square on the end and then nice and square down along the side. So I think we'll work on that next time around. But it's getting late, it's getting kind of cold up here. I think I've had enough for the day, so I'm going to go to the house and find a little bit of supper. So, like we always say, please keep us in your prayers. May God bless you and your families, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.